The heavy, rune-etched door groaned open, revealing a space that, honestly, just stole the breath from their lungs. This was no mere room. It was a cavernous atrium that seemed to hold a piece of the night sky captive within its walls. A soft, silvery light, unlike the flickering torchlight they had grown accustomed to, bathed the chamber in a gentle, ethereal glow. The air hummed with a quiet energy, a stark contrast to the dusty silence that had followed them through the endless corridors of the outer library. It felt alive, as if the very stones were breathing, each one imbued with a forgotten magic that pulsed in time with their own startled heartbeats. Towering pillars of what looked like polished obsidian soared upwards, so high that their tops were lost in the manufactured twilight above. The floor was a mosaic of dark, shimmering tiles that perfectly mirrored the star-dusted ceiling, creating the dizzying illusion of walking on a galaxy. Floating silently between the pillars were continents of books, great masses of leather-bound tomes suspended in mid-air, rotating slowly as if caught in an invisible cosmic tide. The sheer scale of the place was overwhelming, making them feel as small and insignificant as dust motes dancing in a sunbeam. This was not just a library, it was a sanctuary, a cathedral dedicated to knowledge itself. Ilara was the first to step forward, her boots making no sound on the glassy floor. She reached out a hand, her fingers tracing the air as if trying to touch the strange, humming magic that filled the space. "It's different here," she whispered, her voice barely disturbing the profound calm. "The rest of the library." It felt like a tomb, a beautiful, grand tomb, but still a place of endings. "This feels like a beginning." She was right. The musty scent of aged paper and decay was gone, replaced by something clean and strange, like the smell of ozone after a lightning strike. Liam adjusted the pack on his shoulders, his gaze sweeping across the magnificent, impossible architecture. He had seen wonders in his travels, from sunken cities to floating mountains, but nothing had prepared him for this. The library's outer halls had been impressive, filled with shelves that scraped the ceilings and books that whispered secrets to those who listened closely. But this chamber was something else entirely. It was a statement, a testament to a power so advanced and a vision so grand that it defied all known principles of engineering and magic. This was the heart of the great beast, and it was awake. At the very center of the atrium, resting on a dais of pure white marble, was a magnificent, intricate device. It was an orrery, but one of a kind they had never imagined. Instead of brass planets and simple gears, this one was constructed from crystal and light. Gleaming spheres of solidified energy, each glowing with its own internal luminescence, orbited a central, pulsating crystal that cast shifting patterns across the chamber floor. Thin, almost invisible filaments of light connected the spheres, humming with a power that made the air around it crackle. It was clearly the source of the room's strange energy, a focal point of immense magical power. The team approached the device with a mixture of reverence and caution. Every instinct told them this was the key, the puzzle box they had been searching for. Kale, their resident scholar, peered at the base of the orrery, his eyes tracing the complex web of symbols carved into the marble. They were not runes or any known form of ancient script. They were more like star charts and mathematical formulas woven into an artistic tapestry. "These aren't just decorations," he murmured, his fingers hovering just above the cool surface. "They're instructions, a user manual for a machine that maps something far more than just planets." Sensing this was a critical moment, Ilara looked at the others, her expression firm. "We came here to find the library's true purpose. If there's an answer to be found, it is here." She stepped onto the dais, her presence causing the light from the central crystal to flare momentarily, as if it were acknowledging her. The humming intensified, and the floating spheres began to rotate faster, their light brightening. It felt like a test, a challenge to see if they were worthy of the knowledge it protected. The air grew thick with anticipation, the silence of the room now pregnant with untold possibilities. With a deep breath, Ilara reached out and placed her palm flat against the largest of the orbiting crystal spheres. It was not cold, as she expected, but warm, and it thrummed with a life of its own, like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. The moment her skin made contact, the entire orrery shuddered. The soft hum escalated into a resonant melodic chime that filled the vast atrium. The symbols at the base began to glow with a brilliant blue light, and the filaments connecting the spheres blazed so brightly that the team had to shield their eyes. They had activated it. The light did not blind them for long. Instead, it coalesced, flowing from the orrery and projecting a colossal, shimmering image into the air above their heads. It was not a memory, but a living scene. They saw beings of pure light and energy, tall and graceful, moving through cities that defied gravity. These beings, the library's creators, did not walk. They glided, their forms leaving trails of stardust in their wake. They communicated not with words, but with harmonies of light and sound, weaving thoughts and complex concepts into existence as easily as a weaver makes a tapestry. The vision was silent, yet it was filled with the overwhelming impression of peace, intelligence, and immense power. The scene shifted, and the team was shown the creation of the library itself. They watched as the star beings raised the obsidian pillars with gestures of their hands, folding space to create the endless corridors and summoning books from pure energy. The library wasn't built, it was sung into existence. Its purpose became terrifyingly clear. This was not a simple repository for books and scrolls. It was an ark, a vessel designed to preserve the foundational knowledge of the universe itself, physics, magic, creation, and time, against a forgotten cosmic threat. The books were merely the interface for a much deeper, more complex database of reality. A voice, ancient and yet clear as a bell, echoed not in their ears but directly in their minds. It was a chorus of the star beings, a final message left behind. When the great silence falls, knowledge must endure. The key is the vessel is the key. Awaken us and the path will be shown. The voice was not emotional, but it carried a weight of profound sorrow and desperate hope. It spoke of a cataclysm that had consumed their civilization, forcing them to retreat or transform into something beyond comprehension, leaving only this echo behind. The vision faded, and the voice fell silent, leaving the group standing in stunned silence beneath the now calmly humming orrery. The glimpse into the past had been brief, lasting only a minute, but it had fundamentally rewired their understanding of everything. They were not tomb raiders uncovering a lost treasure. They were custodians who had just stumbled upon a sacred duty. The library wasn't a relic of a dead civilization. It was a failsafe, a seed of cosmic rebirth, and they had just turned the key in the ignition, with no idea what engine they had started. As the last echoes of the vision disappeared, a profound change swept through the atrium. The gentle silvery light from the star-dusted ceiling brightened, shifting from silver to a brilliant, warm gold. A deep, resonant hum vibrated up from the floor, a powerful thrum that felt like a colossal heart beginning to beat once more. All around them, the floating continents of books began to move, reconfiguring themselves into new patterns. Passageways of light appeared between them, forming bridges and staircases where none had existed before, inviting exploration into previously unreachable sections of the Great Chamber. Suddenly, with a series of thunderous clicks that echoed through the vast space, massive hidden doors began to slide open in the obsidian walls of the atrium. There were dozens of them, each one revealing a new wing of the library, bathed in a unique coloured light. One glowed with a soft green, another pulsed with a deep violet, and a third shimmered with the colour of liquid gold. These were not dusty archives. They were active laboratories, observatories and workshops, their inner mechanisms now stirring to life after eons of slumber. The library was waking up, its systems rebooting all around them. "What have we done?" Liam breathed, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword, though he knew it would be useless here. He looked at the others, his usual confidence replaced by a profound sense of awe and a healthy dose of fear. This was far beyond their mission. They had sought knowledge, and in return, they had been given a responsibility of cosmic proportions. The library was not just a collection of information, it was a tool, a powerful engine, and it was now active and awaiting instructions. Their simple quest for secrets had just escalated dramatically. Ilara's gaze was fixed on the largest of the newly opened doorways, which pulsed with a brilliant white light. The orrery's purpose, the star being's message, it all clicked into place. The voice said to awaken them, and the path would be shown, she declared, her voice ringing with newfound purpose. This is the path. Their goal was no longer simply to explore or to uncover secrets. They had triggered a fundamental process, and now they had to see it through. They needed to understand the power they had unleashed and navigate the newly awakened library to fulfill the final command of its long-lost creators. Their real journey had just begun.